I'm going to kick it off.
Okay.
Welcome, Smutters, to this episode of Sibs Read Smut podcast. I'm Ned.
I'm Helen.
Strap on your chaps, tighten your big-ass belt buckle, and shout out a yee-haw! It's smut time. Strap it on.
Strap on.
For those just tuning in, shut up. Let me do the intro. Good God. For those just tuning in, this is a podcast where we read, rate, review, and tell jokes, all while discussing our favorite dirty romance books. If you're liking our stuff, go on and hit that like, rate, subscribe. Every little bit helps. And if you have book suggestions and or questions, reach out on the socials at SibsReadSmut on Instagram and TikTok, or email us at sibsreadsmut@gmail.com. On today's podcast, we will be discussing Cash by Jessica Peterson. It's a good one. Spoiler alert, we will be talking about these books in full. Beginnings, endings, twists are all fair game. So if you haven't read it, hit pause, read, or listen to us, see if you're going to like it. It's cowboy smut. Now,
I don't think anyone could tell. What if we were like, it's astronaut smut? Yeah. It's like something.
Howdy.
Howdy, partner. We're reading some astronaut smut tonight.
It's about spies.
It's about. This is a mafia book.
Biker gangs.
Oh, biker. I'm an idiot.
Oh, biker. I'm an idiot.
I'm an idiot. Okay, should I read the summary that I definitely wrote all on my own?
You do have a brief summary. Hit it.
Hit it. All right. Cash by Jessica Peterson. Molly's got a dead dad, a crappy boy toy, and a bum tum. You're an idiot. Against her better judgment, but beholden to her father's will, she moves to his, now her, ranch in buttfuck nowhere so she can collect her inheritance. Cash is a rugged cowboy with serious protector vibes and a potentially magic mustache. He's going to need to use everything in his arsenal not to kill his new boss, Molly. They fight, they fuck a lot. One pregnancy scare and 2 emotional conversations later, they fall in love and bone into the sunset. As one does. As it should happen in all cowboy smut. They combine their ranches. They become besties. He won't let her wear her own clothes. He steals her underwear. It's a good one.
All that happens.
And a series. Ned's favorite. How many books are in the series?
I think there are 5.
I think one's coming out.
4 are out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 4 are out. And I want to say that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sawyer. There's at least 4, and 5 is coming out soon.
I think in April 26th.
I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up on the Goodreads.
Get the actual date. Have you read them all? The ones that are out. You are a series board.
I know. I have been reading another bunch of series, but we do have the second book downloaded on the library already. So I will get into that here shortly. We have so many books due in under 10 days that I am trying to listen to them as quickly as humanly possible.
What speed? What chipmunk speed are you listening?
2.25 to 2.3.
Oof.
So
okay.
So it's quick. It's fast.
Chipmunky for show.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But this series has one of my favorite things: a cartoony cover, and all of them are that way, and they're pretty
big
great.
Tits, big like gallon-sized tits on the girl on the cover. The guy, you can't see his face because he's got the hat covering it, but the girl's just leaning into him with.
Oh, the cover that I have is just
tits.
him holding his hat. I got to check out the alt cover.
No, sir. The cover that I have.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now. The swoony kiss on the front.
The swoony kiss. Yeah, put that one up here in between us, whichever side it goes in.
Yeah.
During the after editing sesh. Add that in.
Yes, Helen, that is how podcasts come together. They're not just magic that come out on YouTube.
I wouldn't know. I'm the talent. I show up. I do a shot of some gummies or weed that I found in my husband's stash, and I'm here. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Yeah.
Well, and it's going along with the series of, I say, over half of the books we read, dead parent. Right off the bat, her dad is just immediate dead. Which
it opens
is okay.
like he's already died. You don't even meet him. He's just a dead dad, like immediately.
Dead dad, and she's going to the to get the estate read at the lawyer's office in the small town, which Hartsville. And do you think that this book? I said it last time, but I don't know if that was true or not. But do you think this book starts at the low point? Because the dead dad and they hate each other and everything else, and she's got her bum tum and everything else. Like there is no other low point in the book, really.
I know, but I think that's what I liked about it. It starts, there's like crappy stuff happening, but this is like a very clear enemies to lovers. I actually texted Ned. So they meet, like Cash and Molly meet at the lawyer's office. She reads the will and they immediately hate each other. He's like this city girl who never came to visit. Like
She's a city girl, not he.
He's a city girl. But anyway, so Molly comes from Dallas and she's estranged from the dad. And so they have this very hard relationship. She has a business and she's looking for money to keep the business afloat. And Cash is the foreman at the ranch. And he had been told by the dad, Ryder or Ranger or something. Garrett. Close enough.
Swimmy, swammy, Samsonite. I was way off.
Close enough. So Cash was told by the dad for like years, like, you're getting the ranch when I die. You know, this is all going to be yours. So they show up to this reading, the reading of the will, and like both of them are blindsided. So the reading of the will says, one, that it goes to Molly, but the stipulation is that she has to live on the ranch for a year. And the only thing that like Garrett left to Cash was a bucket full of photos, and that's it. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty right. I mean, I don't think
his most prized possessions, which were photos of the ex-wife and Molly, and
I think if Molly can't stay on the ranch for a year and she quits or whatever, she loses it all, right? Or was there something?
Yes.
I don't know. Something.
Yeah. And the estate doesn't go to Cash either. It's not like if it's not like if he can run her off, he gets everything. If she can't stick it out and whatever, it gets sold and like it gets donated to charity or something. There is no benefit for him to get her off the ranch. Yeah, or get rid of her in some way.
What is it like? Take her to the train station. Take her to
the train station. Yeah. And immediately he has a dislike for her right off the bat, but she's getting the old beef clinch as soon as she sees him.
I mean,
she's got this beard with a big mustache on top. It's like, I the way she described it, I was like, that's weird, but it's.
She does talk about his beard. She's like, I'm going to get beard burn when they make out and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of hair talk in this, like body hair talk.
And a fair amount of sniffing, too. He has some kind of soap, sexy, herbal, and fresh scent that just makes her, like, vag skip a beat,
euthanasia.
like, right off the bat.
It's eucalyptus.
Euthanasia.
It's eucalyptus. It's a sea salt that he like sits in.
Well, yeah, and she's just eye fucking him right off the bat, and mustache, beard, tight Wranglers, and
Wrangler butt is like a term throughout the whole book.
And she's like, oh my god, he just immediately doesn't like me. She can tell that he doesn't like her. It's not just his perspective, dual perspective, by the way, which we love.
We love,
and right off the bat, because her dad's dead immediately, there's grief and anger all mixed up in there. Like she has a really, as you mentioned, estranged, but her mom has been a real, bitch about the dad for 20 years and really poisoned Molly's, thinking towards the dad.
The
and
town, the
it's
farm, the
the
ranch, like all
yeah
of it. Like yeah, like that whole place and everybody there sucks. You find out she didn't invite anyone from the town to the
the
funeral. They had
mom
like the mom, yeah, they
the mom didn't invite anyone of the ranch hands
yeah,
or anyone that worked on the ranch to the funeral, and it,
yes.
and all the people on the ranch, didn't they did their own little goodbye, but they
Mhm.
were hurt that they weren't invited to come up there because they were his family for the last 20 plus odd years,
Yeah.
and so there's grief and anger and all this other kind of stuff like swirling in this mix right off the bat, and she is a successful maker, like
Bootlegger.
boot company owner with her friend
Hmm.
from college who at first I started reading and not listening.
Yeah.
So I thought Wheeler was a guy and she was doing
Oh
this with her
no.
guy best friend. And I was like, oh, there's going to be some kind of like, love triangle going on.
Oh.
And then I switched over to the audiobook, which was on Spotify, I think. And then I was like,
Oh.
it was a girl's voice. And I was like, oh, okay. Because Wheeler, really? I mean, like,
But also, wasn't
there's a
she
singer called Wheeler Walker Jr. and stuff. So Wheeler to me is a dude's name.
yeah. But also, wasn't she fucking a guy? She had like a boy toy in Dallas named Parker.
Yes,
Very
her
like,
crappy
yeah,
boy toy.
very
Who's a finance bro
yeah. The names are what is it when they can be either gender? Um, Parker, Wheeler,
androgynous.
androgynous. Yeah.
The weed gummies really don't help you remember words, Helen.
I I have no memory
Eucalyptus
to
euthanasia.
I got the beginning sound of that word, okay? I'm also 4 months postpartum. Let's be very clear. Brain is not high functioning. My child does not sleep through the night. Therefore, I don't either. So I read smut to deal with it all. Anyway, okay. So they read this. I texted you after the reading of the will because she hated Cash. I mean, like, just hated him. And then he was so mean about her and his part. Like, they hated each other. And I knew this was going to
Yeah.
be an enemies to lovers book. Obviously, it's like a cowboy smut. How could it not be? And she did notice his Wrangler butt immediately. So I was like, okay, if something's going to happen. But I did not think that they could come back from it. They, like, the beginning, their relationship for the first, like, 20% or 15, not a lot, but like, oh my God. I was like, there's no way they recover from this. I can't understand how they go from like being just hating each other with so much fiery passion to then
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess she can ride a horse. And, so they go through the motions of, she ends up coming back to the ranch and staying there because she needs the money initially. And then,
Well, her boot business is
spoilies.
struggling, and
Yeah.
she needs an infusion not of dick but of cash, and literal cash, not Cash the character, and
But
he is yeah, but and he wants he wants the ranch because he wants to save his family's ranch that has kind of gone under in the since his parents died when he was young. So he has this protector vibe of he's taking care of his brothers since he was in his late teens. He is kind of the man of the family, taking care of all them. He's running this ranch almost single-handedly, not giving up a lot of the reins, and having this new owner step in, Molly, is throwing him for a loop because he thinks that Molly is going to sell the ranch, and she is absolutely planning on selling the
That's
ranch.
her plan.
And yeah, she needs to stay there for a full year to get the cash infusion and get the ranch, own the ranch outright, and she needs the money. She decides to go down there, even though her mom is working on with the lawyers to try and get out of this stipulation. She decides, I need the cash right now, and she's going to get monthly installments from the estate for every month that she lives there. So she needs the money for her boot business. So she goes, okay, I'm just going to go down there and move in and last a couple of months to float the cash to the boot business. And once the boot thing takes off, then I can get the lawyers more involved and figure this out. And it's, like it was a to your point, the vitriol that they have for each other was so well written, and that kind of snipiness back and forth was so well done. It really was like, how are you
How do they
gonna
recover
paint
from
yourself
this?
out of this corner? Yeah,
They
and
despised each other in the beginning.
well, another good, sign is that they introduce this big cast of characters slowly throughout the first little bit of the book, so that we're not, overburdened by, too many people and everything else. We meet his brothers slowly. We meet the lawyer in the town. We meet the bartender, and then all the people on the ranch. We slowly kind of get indoctrinated into them, and it's
The veterinarian. They all are
yeah.
characters in the future books too. So this book being the first of the series, they're all standalone, but this book being the first of the series does a really great job of like queuing up
Setting
the
up the
future.
world.
Yeah. The next
Yeah.
book I think is Wyatt and Sally, the daughter of
The veterinarian.
the veterinarian and daughter. Her dad's also a veterinarian, and they've worked on the ranch forever, and they all know Garrett, the dead dad, and anyway, they're the second book. But yeah, it's great. I like the way that they set up all the characters. And I feel like, too, they both have really deep backstories. Like, his parents died. He dropped out of college. He came back. He did all this. He was sort of taken under the wing of Garrett. And so right when, like, Garrett and Molly's relationship really fell apart was actually, she came to find out later, when Garrett had moved, or when Cash and his brothers had moved onto the ranch and started working for Garrett. And so he was essentially raising these 5 boys after their parents died. So there just was like actually a lot of depth to their backstory and emotional complexity.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love peeling back the
100%.
layers.
And Jessica Peterson in general, because this is the third series that I've started of hers. I've read the Charleston Heat series and the North Carolina Highlands series of hers,
Okay.
and both of them were great. Steamy, we haven't even talked about how steamy this book is. There is a lot of steaminess, but the one more thing about the mom before we get into the rest of it is we meet the mom as in person when when Molly is telling her, I'm going to move to the ranch and I'm going to do this. And the mom's like, don't fall in love with a cowboy or whatever else. But her salad order is downright insane. Do you remember that scene where they're
Yes.
eating lunch?
She was like,
and
Mom,
she's
you're
like,
just
this is my
eating lettuce and radishes. She's like,
yeah, this is what I want: salad, cheese, croutons, blah blah blah, all on the side. And then Molly orders, and she's like, and the mom's like, no, bring her salad the way that I want it to. It was so insane. I was like, Molly's mom is kind of a pill. That's what I said. And
yeah.
and she is just, she has these stomach issues that come up throughout the book
It's a
that go
metaphor.
away once she gets to the ranch. Of course, she's unfulfilled in her life right now, so she's got a bum tum, like I said,
Bum tum.
like you said in this in the summary.
Intro.
But
You read that. You wrote that. Bum tum.
I did bum
Tum
tum.
tum.
But she everything hurts her stomach. She can't eat all this stuff. And when she first gets to the ranch, like they're having a big cowboy spread of food, and she has like a little bit
Green
of potatoes
beans.
or a little, she just loads up her plate with green beans, and everyone's like, what, she's not going to eat with us, this city girl, whatever. And yeah, and it was still like, wow. And you could kind of see in Garrett's, the dad's master plan of like getting her to fall back in love with the ranch, because he knew that she loved horses and riding and horsing and all this stuff that has to do with the ranch. And he's like, if I could just get her back down here, I think she would fall in love with it again. And it was pretty apparent. It was pretty like that was his master plan. I don't know if he planned for Cash and Wyatt, or Cash and Molly to fall in love, but
I think he
probably
knew. Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I don't know if he, you can't guarantee that. But how old? So Molly and the mom left. So the mom basically gave Garrett an ultimatum at some point, like we need to move back to the city. You need to sell the ranch. And I think Molly was like 10 maybe, and he was like, I can't do
If
that.
that,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm staying here, but you and Molly can go. I want you to be happy. And so he like lets them go back to Dallas, and that's when the mom. So I think she was like 10. So she spent time on the ranch as a kid. She learned to ride horses. She was very good at horsing. And so she like went, hello. Oh, I think I heard it. There's your LA maiden call. So she had a lot of the skills that she needed that she just hadn't used any of them. She became a very city slicker. Oh my God. Do you remember that movie? City
Yeah.
Slickers with Billy
Of course.
Crystal?
Billy Crystal.
What a great movie. I haven't thought about that movie in decades.
It's the City Slickers 2, Search for Curly's Gold 2. There's a second one.
Yes, I forgot about those movies. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I loved those.
Got to get those on demand. They were fun. I like those.
I know, now I have to see if they're like anywhere, if I can watch them anywhere. That's so funny. But the mom became a real city slicker and also kind of a real city cunt. She was
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Big cunt. My old boss and I used to do that. You know, in the office, if someone was being a real cunt, we would just go dun 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 dun, just as
big
a
cunt.
yeah. So
Oh, you wouldn't say that
the
part.
We wouldn't say the last part. We'd just go, she's being a real dun 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 right now, and we knew
You're
what
giving
we were
away
talking
your
about.
code, and everyone who used to work with you and you did that to them, they now know that you were calling them a cunt.
Yep, don't care.
Dare you.
But the dynamic, even though they hated each other at the beginning, Cash and Molly, their dynamic was still full of barbs and sniping, but it was good, and they were kind of hot for each other. She was like I dicking him on their first meeting, and he noticed her assets as well. But they,
Or melons.
you know, yeah. Her over-the-shoulder boulder holders, the whatever, that doesn't work. That's a bra, but they as soon as she gets onto the ranch, they're just pretty much fantasizing about each other full time, even though they hate each other still. They are just like, oh my God, look at those pants. Oh, he's all sweaty. I can smell him. You know, but they're still, which leads us to the first. Like
Oh my God.
it's not even a sex scene, but I at 27% in, I
named
have horseback hump.
I
There's
named it.
Okay.
Are you ready for my name?
Yeah, I'm ready for your name.
Saddlehorn Pussy Pop.
That's better than mine. Yeah. Saddlehorn pussy pop.
I texted Ned. I was like, did she just like come against the horn of the saddle? I was like, oh, and it was like, the whole thing was they get stuck out on the edge of the ranch, and then her horse runs off, and they're like, oh no, there's two people and one horse, and it's like this is like the
we got to double up.
Yeah, movies where it's like, oh no, there's only one bed. What do we do? And like, obviously they're gonna ride the one horse back, and I mean, they were basically like
dry humping on
each other.
Yeah.
And then like her back was on her like butt was on his dick and her front was on the saddle horn.
Yeah.
And she's like, the seam of my jeans was getting me all randy.
Yeah. It's saddle pommel click clap for sure. It was like, it was definitely horseback dry humping for sure. It was pretty crazy. And describes in so much detail that it pretty much just was a sex scene.
I'm glad you wrote it down as a sex scene because I was like, holy shit.
That's where I started it off. And then literally 30%, like 3% later is Cash in bed that night having a fantasy jack about Molly. Mm-hmm. And it was like, and that once again, written in very great detail and
graphic.
pretty spicy. And I was like, okay, so they technically have not even kissed. They haven't done anything, but he's jerking off to her, and she pretty much climaxed from a saddle pommel. Came on a horse. Oh man,
this is why there's so much horsing in these novels.
Yeah, well, and they really bond like over food and everything else. So they're like morning 4 a.m. meetings is where they start to like stop hating each other so much, like making each other coffee and getting omelets. Cash overhears her telling the cook about her stomach issues and why she was, eating so carefully and whatever else, which pretty quickly go away, where she just starts eating Patsy's food, who is the cook.
Burgers,
And
like hot dogs.
also, Patsy the cook is in a band called Frisky Whiskey, which I fucking love. That was a great name. And I was like, okay, yep. We
world
need to,
Jessica Peterson creates is awesome. Like all
For
of
sure.
even the side characters and stuff just have really fun stories. So
and
I will be reading the rest of this.
Wyatt, the brother, runs an underground poker game, in town and everything else. Who, spoiler alert too? Well, not spoiler alert because it's the next book. But at the very end of this book, he's being held at gunpoint by the veterinarian, who's the dad, and
Get your gun back out.
And she's being held by gunpoint. Pew 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 pew. And being held by gunpoint, which was a very fun cliffhangery scene, which in this case enjoyed the cliffhanger because they told a full story and cliffhung something else.
They cliffhung the second book of like Wyatt's story. Yeah, very much. That was great.
But Cash, Cash is your standard overprotector, in general too. And like him getting into the bar and some of the guys in town, like giving Molly the horn dog eyes and everything else, and he's like, "You're gonna dance with me and nobody else," and it's kind of like, well, dude, you were just like berating her like 2 days ago, but. There's a bunch of sniffing in there too, especially at the bar. She's smelling him at the bar. He's smelling her sweat and girly shampoo on the doorstep. They have like a bare our souls chat in the bar, which kind of is those one of the two emotional moments that I mentioned in the summary, where like they have two conversations about family and what it meant to be on the ranch and his family and taking care of the brothers and all this stuff, and suddenly it just like they're like, oh well, maybe he's not so bad, oh well, maybe she's not so bad, and she's does her first full day work. She starts being like, oh, I want to go out with them, I want to go out with the Cowboys, I want to be out there doing
I want
it.
to understand it. I want to help.
Yeah, I want to learn the business, and especially if she's still planning on selling potentially. So she's like, I need to know everything I need to know. So she goes out and works a full day with them, and almost hurts her and almost hurts herself, and so he's like, "You're coming back with me," and they've migrated from this hatred into this weird sexual tension infused compliment fest where they're like, "You're so good, you know how to take care of everything," and he's like, "Yeah, but you really worked hard today," and it's like it was a little yuck. I was like, ew, and but. 51. So I mean, now we're almost halfway through the book. 51% accidental boob graze, which
just the tub scene?
Yeah, he's carrying her like into the house or whatever, and kind of like boob grazed her. But that made me think of Jack Black and Kate Winslet on the set of The Holiday. Kate Winslet was talking in an interview one time where they were at the crafty table, and Jack Black wants to reach for something, and boob grazed her, and he just turns and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry for the accidental boob graze." And she was like, it was refreshing for a guy to actually call himself out on it and apologize instead of like trying to just pop a feel or do whatever else. And I was like, that scene made me think of that, and I love that anecdote too. But they're like throwing around League of Their Own references and everything else too, and it was
there's no crying and horsing.
There's no crying and there's no cowboy crying or whatever. I love that. But yeah, so he carries her to the ATV, and that's and I'm like, come on, just bone already. And so he takes her back to his place, being like, you need an Epsom salt bath and all this kind of stuff.
Eucalyptus. There you go. It was eucalyptus Epsom salt, and that's what he smells like. And that's why she knows after she takes this bath, she's like, that's why he smells like he smells. Because he works so hard that he needs to take Epsom salt baths every night.
Yeah, when and I counted this as a sex scene as well because 52% because he is like he almost creams his jeans standing outside of the bathroom door, going like, "Well, she's in there naked and she needs a towel, and I'm just gonna reach between her legs," and he has a full on like, you know, and it was very sexual and
Yeah.
and then they have a crying jag, another bonding emotional conversation, over their shared loss and, bearing their hearts again through the door. They both cry a little bit. And he's like sitting against the door and she's in the tub and they have just this moment through the door. And I'm like, they're just driving head first towards Bonerville for sure.
I felt like that was really like cinematic, and I was like, this is clearly they gotta make a movie out of this. Like the way that she set up, especially that scene, was really making me think like I could see this as a TV show. And speaking of references, you mentioned League of Their Own. There was so much of like Yellowstone in this and I only watched season 1 of Yellowstone, but like Kevin Costner's. I'm sorry, I'm busy. But Kevin Costner's daughter, the blonde crazy chick, and then the foreman, have some kind of relationship, as I remember.
Beth and Rip, my God, only one of the best couples on TV.
Okay, well, Beth and Rip, and that's what I was thinking of with Molly and Cash. I was like, there's a lot of scenes in here that just felt very Yellowstone, but then they called it out at one point. She was like, "This isn't Yellowstone," and I was like. Okay, thanks.
She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, she knew. I was like, okay.
Well, so after their emotional, jizz fest, they have in an effort for Molly to forget Cash. She's like, I got to get him out of my brain. He's the foreman. I can't fuck around with him. Blah, blah, blah. She invites Palmer, her stupid boy toy, down to the ranch for the weekend to like bang it out all weekend and not think about anything. And he's like, oh, well, we're not even going to leave the room. So Cash might not even know that he's there and all this dumb, stupid logic. And then, it's yuck. And right around then too, she's starting to grow a backbone about, the mom, and she calls the mom and goes, "You didn't invite anyone from the ranch to the funeral. Like that's not okay. Like they deserve
really
to
shitty.
be there.
Yeah,
they deserve to be there to say goodbye. Both of us need to do better." And she dresses her down in a pretty smooth way, and it was a good like kind of. I don't hate you. I love you, but like you're wrong and you shouldn't have done that. And we both need to do better. And I was like, that was a conversation written in a way where it could have gone a couple different directions. And yet she took it in a way, which is why I'm saying there could have been a low point when she yelled at her mom about this. There could have been a low point when, her and Cash were trying to figure out a way to be together, and she needs to go back to the city and he doesn't want her to. Like there could have been so many other low points and they figure it all out. There's really it's pretty easy sailing.
The pregnancy scare could have been a low point.
A low point, yeah.
Possibly like a lull. Again, yes, they figured it out. She did at some point. They ended up getting the stipulation undone, so she didn't have to stay on the ranch to get the inheritance. And that also, to your point, could have been a low point because then she was like, well, I guess I kind of have to go back to Dallas now. There's no point in me. I don't have to stay here unless I want to. And then, they figure it out pretty quickly. Just to speak again to like Jessica Peterson, how good her writing is. I did not think that the mom could come around. Like she was written as this like true bitch of a character who like essentially ruined her daughter's life, not life, but like
relationship with her father.
Her relationship to have like anything with the father. And because she spoke so poorly of him, then, Molly like one of her biggest life regrets essentially is she didn't come back to the ranch to spend time with him. She understands. She's had a lot of therapy. She understands that like he was the adult in the room and he should have done more to connect with her. And people told him that, that wasn't. He was not.
Cash had been telling him that for years to reconnect and do better. Yeah.
And so that was clear. But again, he's dead now. So, they both just kind of have to live with how things were. But I did not think that the mom could come back from how shitty she was. And at the end, it takes a long I mean, there's a lot that happens. But, like, I feel like she kind of comes around. Because at the end of the day, they've got 4 parents and 3 are dead. So, like, this mom better be...
I mean, triple parent death because both of Cash's parents are dead. I don't know if we mentioned that either. Starts off with Garrett dead, but Cash's parents are both dead as well. And the dressing down of the mom was great, and also Wheeler, the boot company co-owner and best friend, is she wants to rail hot cowboys too, but but she's also like, you invited Palmer to the ranch? Like, what are you doing? Like, you've been talking about Cash nonstop. Like, what is wrong with you?
Wheeler is book 4, for the record.
Oh yeah, but she's
looked it up.
She's like, she's like, I gotta get the phone. Palmer's inbound right now, so I need to shave, moisturize from stem to stern. Like, she's like, I gotta, and she admits to Wheeler that she has a crush on Cash, and it's like, yet you're inviting another guy down to bone all weekend.
She's hoping that she'll fuck away her Cash.
Yeah, her Cash crush.
And she does talk about the, like, metaphor of the bum tum, like she. In her life at home, she has Parker, this guy. The bum tum. She has this guy at home, and so she's like, let's just fuck him. And that was her release, literally, of like, this is how her life sucks. And so she's like, well, I'm just going to have an orgasm with whoever. And that usually helps her feel better. And so she's using, they're using each other. It's pretty well established. Like, they're not together by any means, any stretch of the word. They're both just fucking.
They're not even dating. It's a hookup.
It's truly just a hookup, and they both know and want that. But so the bum tum, like, she just has sex to cure her bum tum, pretty much. Yeah. And so now she's like, I'm gonna bring him down, and then I'll forget about Cash, and I'll cure my bum tum. And then her
bum tum's gone. She doesn't even have it on the ranch. I mean, she's eating
stressed.
Everything.
She's
stressed, but she doesn't have her tummy problems are not there. But her tummy problems are not happening on with the fresh air and the cowboy musk and the good down home cooking. She's not having any of those problems. But she expects to, like, keep Palmer cooped.
If we lived on a ranch,
cut me off right there.
If Palmer lived on the ranch, no. Do you think that if you and I lived on a ranch and ate ranch food, that our bum tums would be fixed?
No, I think one of us would get impaled by a cactus in the rectum while we're trying to shit out in the middle of nowhere. A fucking cactus rectal thermometer. But Palmer's, is showing up, and she wants to just keep him cooped up and in the house and smush guts all weekend, and he wants to see the ranch and, like, do cool ranch shit.
Go to the bar, of course, where all the guys are.
Well, but so of course she's showing him around the ranch, so he meets all the cowboys, and her plan is completely busted up. So Cash is spinning out about this new truck in the driveway, and he meets Palmer at the bar, and he's super jelly. I mean, just like, absolutely being territorial. And that I love that whole bar scene in general. I mean, it was uncomfortable, which I don't love, but it was written so well that it made me uncomfortable, which is great. And Palmer just starts hitting on some female barrel racers in the bar right in front of Molly, and he's being really oblivious that she's not happy about it. And Cash just, like, starts being a massive dick, like, oh, you ordered this super expensive bourbon with ginger ale and ice. And he's like, no, he's not getting that, to the bartender. Like, and he's like, I can order my drink whatever the fucking way I want to. And Palmer then punches Cash in the face, and Cash hits him back harder and sends him running out of the bar. I loved that scene. I thought that was great. I mean, a little overbearing, but it was super fun because Palmer was just showing his ass the whole time, and it was like he was just being a city slicker, dumb beefcake. and Molly starts getting the fucking downtown rumblies or Main Street rumblies, considering there is no downtown of Hartsville. I mean, it's like, the Main Street rumblies from Cash's fighting and protection, and he noticed how uncomfortable I was and how pissy I was. So she's like gushing about how good Cash is in the bathroom bar, and then I was like, they're having this conversation like, you deserve better and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, maybe say this conversation that doesn't smell like poop and urinal cakes. Like, why are you
have their first hookup in the bathroom?
They do, but also like bathroom hookups seem gross. But 65% in bathroom mouth melting. And it was
their first
hot.
official hookup, right?
Yeah, that's their first official.
I love. There were a lot of things that made me laugh about it, because there were like a woman tries to like open the door and she's like, "You guys, I have to pee." Like everybody saw them go in there. Everybody knows
and he's
what's
like,
going
"Fuck
on.
off!" Yeah,
he's like, "Whatever." He's like, "Pee somewhere else. Pee outside." It's just like, you guys are in the ladies' room. Like, lady's got a lady, and he like locks the door.
Yeah.
He's like, "Get the fuck away!" And she's like, "People are gonna hear." And he's like, "I don't care. Do you care? Nobody cares." I was like, he's like, "They won't question me. They know who I am."
65% a bathroom mouth melting. Here are my notes verbatim for this scene: hot, spit fingers, mouth sexing and nipple play. Dirty talk game is tight, like her vagina. Okay. And they just walk out like everyone didn't know that they were sexing in there. And he's got a little smile on his face as he walks out, and people are like hooting and hollering. Yeah.
She like tried to put her underwear back on. He's like, "Nope, mine now." Puts it in his back pocket. Those are mine
now. At least he didn't like huff them like in.
I mean, he was taking him home probably.
Dirty like me.
Just that. No, but and then the part when we were talking about like, you were talking about like facial hair and how she was gonna get like beard burn on her face from making out. He like pulls off her underwear and then like very graphically describes her pubes. And he's like, "Thank you for keeping some hair down there." And it's like, "I like how it's longer on top and shorter on the bottom. That looks really nice." I was like,
I don't know if I love your voice right there.
It was so weird. And then she's like, "Yeah, what do you say?" She's like, "Uh-huh." And so she's like, "I grabbed his chesties and I ran my fingers through his wiry chest hair. There was so much of it." I was just like, there's a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair talk. I mean, thank you for really setting the scene. But like, damn, I didn't.
Well, starting 65% in, it's pretty much sex scene on top of sex scene for the next 20% of the book.
For the next month.
I mean, running through them quickly, 67% front seat hot dog hiding. She gives him a road head on the way back. Pretty dangerous driving home. Also hot. Gives her fair warning. He gives her fair warning about blowing in her mouth. I mean, very nice of him. And the 70%. Yeah, 70% all night long ram jam. Steamy little tie-up session, condo talk, they decide to forgo because they both have clean tests.
That was one of my least favorite condom talks in all of the books we've ever read. For the record, I hated it.
Well, and he even talks about knocking her up potentially and whatever else. And then they have a pregnancy scare, which was, and it was, and breeding kink, and it was a ball slapping good time, messy affair with the jizz everywhere, definite breeding kink. And then tries to shove it all back in there, which is 73%. Get back in there. He jams his baby batter back up in her.
Finally, a good one. Baby batter. That's a good one. I like that one. That's my favorite.
And then she spends the night with him, but he keeps taking her back early in the morning so the other cowboys don't know that they're whatever. But now he's taking Saturday mornings off so that he can give her a good tube staking. And 75% in kitchen cockatory, like kitchen cacciatore, get it? But
chicken cacciatore.
Yeah, but bacon, eggs, and boners.
Bacon, eggs, and boners. Love that.
Yep.
That's a good one.
And the fast forward a week in, and Cash is in love. I mean, so it's been a week of them having sex, and he's just in love. So now comes bathtub scene 2.
Quickly. I named this
Boogaloo.
one. Okay. Did you name? Was that your name for it?
I did. No. 78% rubber ducky. You've got a boner.
Okay. I couldn't quite figure this one out, so I tried penis pool pony ride, slippery when wet.
Okay.
Or just bathtub pony ride. I guess it could be penis pony ride, slippery when wet. Wait, but it's got to be in a pool. I couldn't figure that one out. That one was
Well, you keep saying pool too, and it's a bathtub.
It's a
but
tub.
Yes.
I mean, the way the water sloshes around and she's like riding him in the bathtub and then the water is going all over the bathroom. I was like, that's actually really annoying. I would not want to clean that up. Like, that was funny.
Yeah. Well, and he is now taking time off the ranch and letting his brothers do more. And she is working on the ranch and then doing her boot company at night. And they're falling in love. Months have started to go by at this point. So everything else in there was like a couple of weeks. Going on, and then suddenly now months have started to go by. They're boning down on the reg, and Cash is like trying
on the rag.
Yeah, and he's trying to get his head around loving Molly, but like, is she in love? Whatever, and he doesn't know.
He knows
and
she is. He's confident.
Yeah. When like they're vaccinating cows, Cash is just like smitten as fuck as she's like giving him the shots, and he's like, hard eyes, bam, 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 and even everyone's looking at him like, yeah, dude, like you got it bad, and 78%. There's a little hiatus in fucking because they have to tell some story, so Molly's mom gets the lawyers to forego this stipulation. The mom's still being a real butthole and guilting Molly into coming back to Dallas. Molly realizes she might be pregnant during this conversation with her mom from all the turkey basting that Cash has been doing. And Helen did not like that one.
Of all things, that really got me. That's gross, Ned.
But they immediately she thinks she's pregnant, so they immediately go get pregnancy test, and he's not that bummed about it. He's like already thinking, this is my girl, like I want to keep her. And he's like, I don't want to trap her, but I also kind of want to get an anchor baby into her, so she has to stick around. It was one of those things where he was like, it's a blessing and a curse, and she wasn't even that opposed to it either. She was a little bummed when she didn't end up being pregnant.
All of the emotions. She
had much more complicated emotions.
That I feel like I really liked that. I loved the way that Jessica wrote that. We knew his inner thoughts because she was telling us them, but like the way that he actually treated as a woman, like it is a very scary experience if you're not trying and things happen. And I loved, he was like, didn't make her feel scared or like he was going to leave. He's like, whatever happens, we'll figure it out. It's got to be on your timeline, which I thought was very respectful. And yeah, I really liked the way that he treated it. And then when like they found out it was negative and she was like relieved but sad, like all of the different emotions that come with that, then he was like, I mean, I would have put a baby in you. I'd be like, then I was like, all right.
Your impression of his voice is very condescending.
Well, there you go. I don't think you need it. I liked his reaction until like that was negative, and then he was like, I'd still like to put a baby in you. And then I was like, all right, gross. Not that he love bombed her by any means, but he kind of. I don't think it was months. This wasn't months. This was like a month because she got one installment of the money. And then it was during the next month that things were happening.
No, I months have started going by. I have it in my notes because the timeline shift was a while. Because the second collection of boots have already started coming out and everything else. It had been a couple of months, and so and it had been a couple of months because the lawyers have figured it out. So she, after the baby scare, goes back to sign the papers now that she doesn't have to stay on there anymore, and she invites Cash to go with her and says, "Hey, do you want to come with me and sign these papers?" And they're gonna have lunch with the mom, and Cash is seeing her place in Dallas for the first time, and she gets so distracted by wanting to blow him in the apartment that she forgets Wheeler's coming over to show her the new shoes and everything else. Yeah. And he's like, "And I'm not even wearing my hat." Like that's some big, reveal. But Wheeler and Cash hit it off right away, and she's very happy for Molly. The whole, like, "Oh my God, like, can you imagine? Can you see how hot he is?" And she's like, "I know, I've been fucking him for the last couple of months." And that leads to like 91%. Thanks for loving my wang. Molly gives him a welcome to my condo blowy once Wheeler finally leaves. And then Cash has big plans. This is like we said, there's no real low point in here. They're kind of figuring their stuff out as they go. But there is what do we call it when they try to win him back?
Grand gesture.
There is a grand gesture in here, even though he hasn't pushed her away. His grand gesture is to suggest to her to put a studio for the boot company on the ranch, get a storefront in downtown Hartsville to promote the boots, and propose to her. Like that's his big plan, and he is waiting for the right time to do this. And they're going out to lunch with the mom, and Cash she's like, no, be yourself. Like, wear your cowboy hat. Be the full cowboy that you are. And, it was good. The mom was being a real bitch on wheels during the,
the lunch,
during the whole brunch. But it's like he stood up to the mom. She kind of stood up to the mom. They kind of got things back on track, and then he kind of just flops his dick on the table with like, oh, I got plans for this. I got everything else. Here's my plans for the studio ranch. Oh, and here's all of the pictures. Here's a picture of you guys on the ranch, whatever else. And the mom starts kind of melting right there, and Molly just jizzes her pants over the plans for the studio on the ranch, and her mom is blown away and melts a little bit towards Cowboys. That was kind of a little bit of a touching scene, and she shows up with snacks when they're driving back to the ranch and kind of gives her stank of approval, and it's I thought that was fun-ish.
I liked it. It felt a little forced, of like, it's a romance novel, right? Like, I feel like they need to tie things up with bows. And so that mom stuff, like, she was a bitch on wheels the whole way through. And then, like, there's these two interactions where she, like, shows some heart and, like, comes around a little bit. I'm like, okay, maybe. I feel like,
yeah, but you kind of have to. I mean, you're 95% through the book.
I know,
like,
but you could also just not resolve that relationship and just have it be
but her mom and her relationship with her mom was such a huge part of her identity. You couldn't really leave that unresolved at the end and have her mom just be pissy with her, as she leaves. And I mean, it turns into this combining of the ranches. So Molly takes his idea and runs with it and says, "Hey, why don't you bring your Rivers Ranch and combine it with Lucky Ranch, and we can just all be one big happy incestuous family over here." And that leads to 99% barn boning bonanza.
This is the epilogue, right?
Yeah, this is the epilogue. They fuck in a barn, end the story with a bang, literally, and they bone in a barn, mustache ride. I mean, she made such a meal out of his mustache this entire book that I'm like, finally, there's a mustache ride. And you can't leave the book off without making a statement about his mustache and not have a mustache ride. And we find out she's a screamer because all the cowboys are hearing them fuck in this barn. And then we get the preview of book 2 with Wyatt and everything else. I mean, we went over a little bit of this here and there, but, what kind of tropes do you think that this was? I mean, enemies to lovers for sure.
Totally.
But they also said online too, grumpy sunshine, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but they're
I
both
see it.
kind of but they're both kind of grumpy. So isn't this like a grumpy sort of thing? Like there is no sunshine
I
in
think
this.
that we are supposed to perceive her. We're supposed to perceive her as like she's not super sunshiny, like everything's rainbows and unicorns, but she shows up on the ranch in like a super short skirt and like purple
Purple cowboy
cowboy
boots. Yeah.
boots that like are not made for riding. She tries to like get on a horse with these boots and like is slipping everywhere. Doesn't So I feel like they're trying to set her as this like fun city girl who's just
Bubbly.
all about bubbly, all about a good time. And she's not like she has a lot of depth and backstory, but I see the grumpy sunshine.
Yeah,
A
I mean
little
the
bit.
opposites attract a little bit. Protective hero, fish out of water, forced proximity. Both living together on a ranch.
Dead parents.
City girl in a rural town. There's a fair amount of them, and like you mentioned before, there's a lot of depth in this book. There's grief and loss and complicated family issues and legacy, and there's Jessica Peterson wrote a lot of depth in here. There's a lot of
This is
stuff,
my first book by her, and I was fantastic. Really good.
I mean, that leads us right into Smutometer. Where would you put this on the
Spicy.
Smutometer? Spicy for sure, absolutely. I
Spicy
mean,
for sure.
With
It
the
does
clit
not
rubbing on the
touch.
saddle, nothing does, Helen. That's why we have Spicy
It
Plus.
does not touch pucking around. But I was talking about this with a colleague today. I genuinely think that the reason pucking around is so magnificently like beyond all of these novels and literature is that it's for people. So like I think anytime there's just like a hetero two people boning or even just two people boning, homo hetero whatever, I'm bored by it. I need the quadruplets. I need the quads to really feel shocked by anything now.
Also, just as a side note, did you put Morning Glory Milking Farm on the library?
I sure did. It's only 6 hours long. I cannot wait to listen to it. That might be
Yeah,
coming up
and
next.
More Minotaur smut. Well, not this season, Helen. We've already planned out the books.
I'm gonna read it. I'm curious.
Yeah. Oh, for you. Where would you recommend this book?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeehaw.
Hell yeah. Shit yeah. Fuck yeah, brother. That's a TikTok trend, and nobody gets it.
Oh my God, Helen. That is.
Yeah. Shit yeah. Fuck yeah, brother.
Oh my God, Helen. That is terrible. That's a yes from me too. By the way, I would absolutely recommend.
Oh
this.
yeah. Did you like it?
I did 100%. But I warned you before we even started today because you hate questions that come out of nowhere that you don't know how to answer. What other books have you finished this week? Have you read anything else this week that we should know about?
I have. I read a drama, Broken Country. Fantastic.
I enjoyed that one too.
Loved it. It was great. Broken Country, really good. I've started it like 3 times now, but I just haven't been able to finish it. And I finally made the time because I wanted to like give it its full due. And then last week we talked about the Carly Fortune book, and I read the brothers' story. I finished that after.
Yeah. One golden summer.
One golden summer. So kudos to Carly Fortune again. I liked Every Summer After so much that I read the next book and liked it. Broken Country, fantastic. Not a rom-com. And then
Yeah. No boning.
no, she has an affair.
No. Yeah, but it's not explicit. It's not explicit.
Well, you don't know the layout of her pubes, but they talk about them like having sex, I think. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
It's not sexy. It's just
yeah.
description of boning.
I've read some fantasy this week. Fury
How
of the
many
Gods.
books? Just give me a number. Start with that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have six books this week.
You have
I'm
read
almost done.
6 books in 7 days.
Yeah,
What
I'm
the
almost
fuck?
done with book 7 too. Yeah, so Tiger, a true story of vengeance and survival,
saw that
about
in
a
the
tiger
library.
a tiger in Russia that attacks a bunch of people in this town, and they have to hunt it down and kill it. Captain, which is book 2 in the Morgan Brothers series by Lauren Rowe, very spicy
Romance?
meatball romance. That's the Ball Peen Hammer
Oh my
series that
God.
you saw in there. Fury of the Gods is book 3 in the Bloodsworn Saga by John Gwynne, which is fun fantasy stuff. Prayer for the Crown Shy, Monk and Robot book 2 by Becky Chambers. I'm also reading a sci-fi series of hers. And Hang On St. Christopher by Adrian McKinty, which is Detective Sean Duffy book 8 in the series. I just finished that one this morning and started another detective book this afternoon. So I read a lot. Fuck you.
I mean, like, even on a normal year when I'm not, like, hanging out with a newborn and really doing, like, toddlerhood, I feel like I read, like, 75 to 100 books. I mean, I read a lot. You read, like, 400 books a year. How many did you read last year? 400?
Last year, 2025, 292. So almost 300.
Oh, you're slacking. How
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I know. The year before that
Jeez.
was 350, but yeah, so I something must have happened in my life, I guess.
You're
But
slipping and sliding. Cool
yeah.
pussy popping.
Do you know what we're reading next week?
Okay, I was thinking about it. I have literally no clue. Please
We're
tell
reading
me.
Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison.
Is that why that's on the library? I was like, why did Ned download this like Christmas novel in the middle
Yeah.
of April?
I've downloaded both of our next books, so you have no excuse not to read read them as soon as
What's
possible.
after B.K. Borison?
Love Light Farms, B.K. Borison, and then A Not So Meat Cute by Megan Quinn, who is a good spicy meatball.
I love her. She is a spicy meatball. I saw that too, and I was like, huh, okay, must be a new release. Nope.
Nope.
Those are
The
for me.
So coming up
Subtle-
next week,
Subtle indication.
yeah. So next week, Love Light Farms, BK Borison. If you're liking our bullshit, please hit that like, rate, subscribe button. We would really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
thank you for listening. Tune in next week, Smutters.
Stay smutty, Smutters.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Tip of the cap. Huh?
Tip of the cap.
And
Cool
out.
pussy popping.
Christ.
Pussy popping. Okay.